And welcome to Greifenhorst, which is my medieval fantasy Let's Build series in heavily modded Minecraft. So, in the last episode, we went ahead and expanded our resource production area here, and this is a temporary resource production area because we're clearing out this space to build a castle on it. But for now, the permanent location for growing stuff is not available yet, and that's kind of what I want to focus on today. Actually, I want to kind of clean up this agriculture stuff and get it going. You can see some of these fields aren't fully full, but what I want to do is I want to work on that central stair. Now, you remember there was an episode a few episodes back that said, hey, I have a plan, and here it is. And I showed you my Excel. There is the central core, the core of the base is actually underground, multiple levels, and we'll produce agricultural stuff, workshop, storage, kelp. All this stuff will be produced underground, and but until then, we need to produce it somewhere, and since we will build a castle up here, this is a good place to start until the terraforming's done. So that's what I want to do today. In the meanwhile, we want to expand our resource production. Right now, I'm just focusing on the stuff that isn't a full field yet, so that we can make it a full field. Something else that I'm thinking about, this with the fire and ice mods, it's much more than just about dragons, right? It includes a whole bunch of mythological creatures, and it's actually a really big mod, very, very feature complete. Now, I bring that up because what I would like to do is, in addition to digging the central core and having places to grow produce, there's places, there will be places down there to grow livestock, right? And it's not like we're growing them in a little cave and they're gonna, suffer in the dark type of thing. No, it's gonna be pretty cool. But the reason that comes up, and the reason it comes up with fire and ice, is that in this game there's a creature called the cockatrice, and the cockatrice in mythology was one of those creatures that was had the different parts of all sorts of creatures bolted together, and a cockatrice is supposed to be like a hybrid between a bird or a chicken and a snake, right? So that already kind of puts it in pretty high up on the list of creepy things you can encounter. But the cockatrice also had this power where if you caught its gaze, you got turned to stone. And all of this is important because when you start, when you're a chicken rancher with that mod installed, your chickens will still lay eggs, but every once in a while they'll lay what is labeled an ugly egg. And you take the ugly egg and you throw it against the wall just like you do with other eggs, but if it hatches, what you get is not a baby chicken, but a baby cockatrice. And the thing is the cockatrice will be tame to you. And that's important because cockatrices are kind of bad to the bone. So what I would like to do then is I would like to, sooner or later, preferably sooner, start ranching chickens that we can maybe get some cockatrices or cockatrice or whatever the plural is. I mean, it's not every day you have more than one or even one. So But you could kind of tell them to, like, we could throw them out here in the garden and tell them to patrol the garden, and they'll do just that, and it is awesome. Now, it's in fact, the way they work is they have. Let's see if I can get these. No, it's been a while since I used scaffolding, but I think I can just. No, I think I just knocked scaffolding off here. I think you just knock them off. Yeah, you just knock them off. Okay, excellent. So the cockatrices. They'll basically wander around. They'll stay in the general vicinity. You won't have to worry about that. And they have an incredible aggro radius. I don't know what it is. It's like 32 or 64 blocks. When you have them running around, you don't even know there's anything out there. But all of a sudden, what you'll see is they have like these rays that come from their face, a lot like, say, the rays from a guardian, right? And it just fires off into the forest. You're like, what is going on there? And then, sure enough, you see, I did again. Zombies or skeletons come running in with this beam locked onto them, and of course, they usually die long before they get to the cockatrice. And if you have 2, 3, or 4 cockatrices or cockatri, well, there you go. It's good time for all. Well, except things that the cockatrices are locked onto. Another thing about these cockatrices. Hold on. This is the center. This is one section, 2 sections, and that means 2 on the other side, right? 1, 2. Yeah, so there's got to be 2 on the other side. That'd be 5. That means this is where we actually turn outward for a tower. It's not really a tower. It's more like a bulwark. And the other thing, I'll get to the walls in a minute. I'm not done talking about cockatrices. They're fun. The other thing about cockatrices is, in the wild, cockatrices are very protective of chickens. So if you're running around and a cockatrice for some reason hasn't locked onto you yet, but you find some chickens and you start slashing chickens, the cockatrice will definitely be locked onto you and will come at you full force. So, they can guard the hen house, so to speak, and that's cool. So, we'll do that. The thing I was going to say a minute ago, when I was, hold on, let me find a middle spot here. This will work. Okay. So the thing I was going to talk about the wall, in Minecraft worlds, people build castles all the time, and most of the time, what they do when they build a castle wall is it's a wall that's 1 block thick, right? And I gotta tell you, there's nothing wrong with that. I do it all the time myself. But what I like to do is, in this world, one of the things, we are talking about a fantasy world in a block game with zombies and skeletons. So use this next word with a very big grain of salt, right? Context is everything. But I would like to make the castle somewhat more, here's the irony, realistic. So what that means is, when I start building the castle, I'm going to build gatehouses and murder holes and, ramparts with battlements and, all the whole shebang. But that also includes, the walls aren't 1 block thick. Because castle walls, historically, are not 1 block thick. In fact, depending on what part of the castle we're talking about, they would almost never be thinner than, say, 2 meters thick. And in many cases, they would be 3, 4, 5, or even more meters thick. And there's a reason for that, right? If you, the whole point of the wall was not to keep out zombies and skeletons or guys with swords. I mean, I guess that is true. It was to withstand siege engines, right? I mean, people who wanted to get in, they really wanted to get in, and they had big, battering rams and stuff to do it. Let's see what didn't go. Yep, all this stuff doesn't have a permanent home yet. I did not mean to put my baked potatoes in there. So we'll go put this stuff away manually. So corn is a vegetable. So veggies. And what else we got? We got, cabbage is definitely a vegetable. And I got some fruits here, right? I had apple. Oh, but yeah, they already had a home, so I don't need to find a home for them. But I do have some seeds I gotta put away. I don't remember where I put seeds. I seed it right here. Okay, so let me see. Strawberry seeds and cabbage seeds. Okay. So let's go back upstairs. So you have to remember, so if you have a wall that's like 6 inches to even 3 feet thick, it's not going to stand up long against a battering ram. And the guys who built castles back in the day, they knew this. So if you look at what castle walls usually were, they were usually 3 parts. If you're talking about horizontally, right? There would be an outer layer of facing stone, and these would be big or little blocks, but it would usually be, say, 2, like a meter thick. I was going to say feet, but a meter thick of blocks, right? And the other side, the inside surface of the wall, would likewise be similar construction, right? Worked stone, maybe a meter thick, maybe a little thinner. And then the space in between was basically filled with dirt, gravel, stone parts, whatever, right? Filler, basically. And the idea is that, a siege engine like a trebuchet or battering ram or catapult throws big rock at it and it hits that outer stone wall. That takes the initial blow, but it's all that fill on the in between that absorbs the energy from the blow, right? So that's why the walls are really, really thick. Now the problem is as time went on, we sometimes make improvements in feeding people and solving poverty or the environment, but one place we always make improvements is trying to figure out how to kill more people at a time. And the same was true with I hate these guys. Burn, baby, burn. There, I don't feel bad at all. So the problem is that no matter what you come up with, somebody's going to come up with something that is either better or will counteract whatever you came up with. That's just the way it works. And in the case of castles, they had a pretty good thing going, and then everything's cleared. The guys with I actually have quite a few cobbled deep slate. The guys with the catapults and stuff figured out how to make them bigger, meaner, more powerful. Well, then they start punching through walls. So then they come up with a solution: just make thicker walls. And it's not unusual for like late Middle Ages to have walls that are like 5 meters thick, right? Or even more. But then you run into the problem where they, the Chinese invented gunpowder and they put it in fireworks, and then the Europeans got a hold of it and said, "Hey, this is a fantastic idea. We can use it to blow up people and stuff." There you go. So they came up with cannons, and now the problem was cannons were much more powerful than the siege engines, and so they just made thicker and thicker walls. But at some point, it gets ridiculous, right? You just can't make a wall. I mean, you can make a wall thick enough, I guess, but at that point, it's so impractical, it's not worth it. And incidentally, that's like around the 1600s, 1700s, they start to develop a defense, which is instead of building thicker and thicker walls, they built walls at angles. So they would be at an angle horizontally and an angle vertically. So basically, when you fired your cannon at the wall, if the wall was just flat and the cannon hit it, that's maximum damage, and you pop holes in the wall. But if the wall's angled, you fire a cannonball at it, and the force is deflected, right? So your cannonball goes careening off into a ricochet someplace. And that's why when you start seeing forts from like around the Revolutionary War period and after the Napoleonic Wars, any place you did actually see a fort, it's star-shaped, right, with these slanted walls. In fact, the fort that the Statue of Liberty is, well, I don't know if you know this. The Statue of Liberty, obviously it's a statue, but the base of the statue was built in the interior space of a fort. And it's a star fort. That's why it's shaped that way. It's not shaped that way because it's a fancy base for the Statue of Liberty. It's shaped that way because it was, early 19th century fort, and it was designed to deflect cannon fire. So there you go. And by the time you get to the Civil War, nobody's, if you build a fort, it's not to protect you against cannons and stuff. It's to protect you against guys with guns. And at that point, you went all the way back to what forts were in the Iron Age, right? You got a log wall and some towers and some guys firing weapons from the wall. That's it, right? So if you come with a cannon, well, it's going to be bad. So, and when you see like the Civil War, then you start to see the way to defend against cannons is you dig into trenches, right, and then you fire over your trenches at the bad guys with your own cannons, which then led to World War I, which was a huge slogfest, and years would go by and the line would move a mile. And then all that went out the window for World War II because the Germans invented the Blitzkrieg, right? So they'll just attack on the move. And, fortifications kind of go out the window. The only thing you're fortifying against now is against bombs, right? When you build a fortress now, you just make sure it's hardened against bombs. But they don't try to make fortresses hardened against ground forces or anything anymore, for the most part. So, anyway, that was quite a tangent. Back to what I was saying, though, is that's what I want to do, right? So, I'd like to make the walls, say, 5 blocks thick, right? And so that gives us some nice space on top of the wall to walk around, and we'll see, right? So. But I would like to make all... What else did I have? I think that's it. I would like to add all the classic castle features, right? So gatehouses, and since we have the crate mod, I'd like to throw in maybe a drawbridge, definitely a portcullis, right? I don't know if you know what a portcullis is, but if you ever seen a movie where the gate to the castle has this big like wooden grid that can slam down. It looks like a cage, almost a cage wall, except they can bring it up or down to keep people in or out. That's a portcullis. So yeah, I mean, in the classic case of The Princess Bride, right? They go to close the portcullis, and Fezzik walks up and grabs it, and then throws it back up and opens the portcullis and just waltzes in. So yeah, you wouldn't be able to do that, but that's what it is. Anyway, let's drop this stuff in here, and then we'll see what pops up on the back. And that's the stuff we'll have to find a home for. I got a lot of stuff this time. Some weird stuff. I think I just put my baked potatoes in there again. I did. Okay. Okay, let's run around the back and see what we got. Wow, that was a lot. That doesn't have a home yet, so we'll pick up all this stuff. And oh, my inventory's full. We'll go find a home for this stuff. So mushrooms, well, they're not a vegetable, not a fruit. Well, I guess it depends on who you talk to. I didn't know this stuff was here. Interesting. Okay, I guess we'll have to keep an eye on that in the future. Anyway, I mean, mushrooms are a fungus, so that's its own category. But like I've noticed, both Hightail and Vintage Story classify mushrooms as a vegetable. And some of the stuff I read about mushrooms talks about fruiting bodies, right? That's the same type of thing you get with fruiting trees and bushes. So I don't know. If somebody out there is a specialist in spores, molds, and fungus, by all means, weigh in. Let us know. Oops, that's not what... Cheese doesn't go here. I meant to put a skull here. There we go. Excellent. I think this ash can go here with the crafting stuff. And seeds. These are flax seeds. I know where these should go. Right here. Okay, so we've got some weird stuff here. That's meat. Ghost peppers are vegetables. Well, technically they're fruits, but peanuts. Okay, so let's go around the corner. The oats are a grain, like that, and guardian meat. Okay, goes here with the other meats. It's weird meats. We'll put it over here to the side. This is Wilden Stalker steak, and it does not look appetizing at all. Peanuts. Well, they're seeds, but we'll put them here with the weird stuff. Red mushrooms, and brown mushrooms, and cheese. There we go. Okay, now that was all kind of ancillary. I mean, we got to keep moving stuff down here anyway. But this is what I really wanted to focus on, is building our central staircase. And we can get rid of these. Okay. So if I remember correctly, oh yeah. Oh, we need to get some First of all, I got a bunch of sticks I need to get rid of, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use them as fuel. Nope. And let's get some deep slate cobble. It's deep slate is cobble. And throw it, let's get 2. And throw them into the furnace. Because we'll need the regular deep slate stone for our smooth inlaid deep slate blocks. I think that's it. Okay. So I think the last time I was doing this, I left off 1 or 2 levels above this, and I got to, yes, the kind of the end of a level, right, where we're gonna open up into a new level. Oh boy. Oh, that wasn't so bad. So now this part goes super fast because we have heavily enchanted tools, courtesy of, well, multiple mods. I don't remember which mod the excavate enchantment comes from, but boy is it a time and lifesaver. Basically it allows me to mine 9 blocks at a time instead of just 1, so do the math, it's 9 times faster. Okay. And it goes by fast. Now I'm still at a loss as to what to do soon, in that I love working with this deep slate stone in all its different variants, and I'd love to build a castle out of that. That's easy peasy. Now the problem is deep slate only occurs basically below level 0. I mean, there's some above level 0, but level 0 is a transition zone, and so you got to come down here and mine it. Now in normal vanilla Minecraft, you can't make this stuff, and the way you would, I got some stuff stuck on the other side of the wall, but we'll leave it. But that's okay, because I actually need to move this over here. There we go. But that's okay, because you could, we're going to build what I keep calling the Metro, which is going to be an underground transportation system just above bedrock. So, hollowing that out is going to get us a bunch of deep slate, but I would like to use more. I mean, because we're going to run out of deep slate soon, because we're going to, as we keep digging up, we'll come up above level 0. And then we'll be getting tons and tons of cobblestone, which is also good. We'll need that, but we won't be mining any new deep slate. So I do have a mod called it's an add-on to the create mod. It's a cobblestone generator block, and with the right modifications, it could generate deep slate too. So I'd like to get to that. The only problem is, if I remember correctly, the cobble generator uses to create it, I'm going to need to create some stuff like, I think, precision mechanisms, and that kind of goes into a part of Create that normally I probably wouldn't have considered for a world like this. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, I think therefore I am. I'll have to double check. I think I grabbed a mod that is a gateway between Ars Nouveau and Create. And if so, that would give me my bridge, right? I could then use Ars Nouveau to power Create inventions, and then that would get us through the ability to create precision mechanisms and such, and then ultimately cobblestone generators. I will have to double and triple check that, but yeah. I've been putting it off, but at some point I need to update Create and all the add-ons relating to it. And this world might be the one I do it with first, because it's a medieval world. Most of the Create stuff that I grabbed from the Rubble or New Londinium doesn't really apply here, right? So the pain in updating the mods is going to be drastically simplified. There's just fewer mods to deal with. But oh my god, from the Rubble and New Londinium, I think I have in the neighborhood of like 10 or more Create add-ons for both, and trying to keep all those cats in a row. Oh my god, it's I've been putting it off for months and months. So at first I didn't mind, because I thought I was waiting for the Steam and Rails guys to put out mods, but then I realized that I wasn't seeing their updates because I had it set to only show me full releases, not beta releases. And they've been chunking out beta releases all along. So I think, and their beta releases traditionally are very, very good. So I think I might just bite the bullet and grab the latest release of everything and go for it, and and cross my fingers, cross my toes, hope it all goes without blowing up the world. But we learned that lesson, right? If you remember, the first series, Greifenhorst, died a sudden and very painful death, and because I was backing up my world, but since things had been moving so smoothly, I didn't back up my world very often, right? I had gotten out of the habit of backing up after every episode, and so I think I was like 4 episodes behind with my backups, and so when it melted down, I said that's it, and then that's when we made Griffin Manor, and that was the next step in my YouTube and modded Minecraft evolution, and that worked better, but then that was built in excuse me, anyway, that was built in Minecraft 1.19.2, and there was a lot of new stuff coming out with Minecraft 1.20, so I really wanted to try to convert the world over. The converted world was a mess, but but that's okay. I mean, I was doing backups religiously, so I could go back to 1.19.2 and just continue from where I was. But there was some stuff in 1.20, and I don't remember specifically what it was, but it's like I kind of felt like maybe I could live without it, but I didn't want to live without it, and that meant I was just, if I'm going to start in 1.20, that means I have to basically start my world over, which is what I did, and that's how New Londinium was born. but the thing is when I was working on building the mod pack for New Londinium, I was probably, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through. And as I was putting the list together, I realized that about 80% of the mods in the mod pack are quote-unquote generic. In other words, they'd apply to pretty much any world I could care to build. I swear, it wasn't my fault. That wasn't my fault. And then, so building another mod pack for a different flavor, for a different theme, would actually be pretty quick and easy. And that's how From the Rubble was born. And of course, at the time I said, you know, I'm done with medieval and fantasy. I'm not going to do it anymore because that's what I've done pretty much since day one of my Minecraft career. But, you know, there's just so many great mods out there, and some of them are just screaming to be put in a fantasy world. So Greifenhorst was born. And haven't regretted it at all. Not at all. I just wish that I was retired. I mean, fully retired, so that I could just goof around with this stuff all day. Or most of the day. At the moment, though, it's kind of like I'm retired or semi-retired because still looking for a job. And it's pretty tough out there. You know, I have almost 30 years in the tech sector. And the tech sector is taking a beating right now. And then on top of that, all those people that were cut loose, a lot of fantastic people with experience and skill sets similar to mine. So I'm competing with all of those guys. And then, let's face it, I'm old. And a lot of employers, especially in tech, they don't want old people. That's not what they say, but their actions speak much louder than their words. And it's, you know, it's age discrimination, but it's impossible to prove because they can the classic defense against that is like, well, you just overqualified. And if somebody tells me I'm overqualified one more time, I'm going to overqualify them. But so, you know, and I'm seriously considering just doing something different. In fact, I'm more than considering it. I'm still looking for PM jobs, but I recently applied for a position as a school bus driver, and that's where I'm at, right? Because I don't want to dip into my savings. That's for my retirement. And here's the thing, like when I tell people that I'm applying for a position as a school bus driver, some people get really sad about that, right? Like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it's like, well, I mean, it's not good news, I guess. It's, you know, because the economy's changing, and I'm, I guess, the tech industry equivalent of the guy who drives your carriage or your wagon in the age of the automobile, right? I get it. Oops. But don't feel bad for me because I'm not going to be homeless anytime soon. And more to the point, I'll be okay. And I'm not at retirement age. I still got about a decade to go. But maybe this is the time I should kind of, like I said, semi-retire. School bus driver semi-retirement, right? I mean, the money's not great, not compared to what I had, but it's pretty decent, and it's got good benefits. Get my summers off, right? So, yeah, don't feel bad. This is, I mean, again, like I've said it here before, and I'll say it here again. Sure, I got my problems, but compared to the other 8.5 billion people on the planet, I'm in pretty darn good shape. You know, I got problems, but compared to most people on the planet, they would probably literally kill somebody to have my problems instead of theirs. So we're okay. We're okay. And I got this channel, and now that you know, I'm not going to retire on this channel, that's for sure. But you know, running my website and, you know, subscriptions and all this type of jazz, it costs money, and the good news is the channel basically pays for that now. Not much more. I'd like to get to a point where the channel will pay for upgraded gaming rig at some point. Right now it'll probably, you know, after we pay for all the subscriptions and stuff, I'll be able to buy a new computer through the channel in 30 or 40 years. But if we just a little more oomph, and we'll be able to get to, you know, if I can buy a new computer every 4 or 5 years, that would be fantastic. I'd be happy. I mean, it's nice too, because the fact that it brings in any money at all has shifted my wife from giving me grief for playing games to asking me when my next video is and how many subscribers. I mean, she's very curious and supportive, which, wow, that's worth the price of admission all by itself. So I'm pretty happy about that. Very, very far cry from where we started. If you go back to which video? I think it's the one where I say introducing the channel, right? Where I introduce the channel. Go to that one. I explain my whole history behind this, and yeah, that was pretty much spot on. My wife did not like me playing games, and I got into Minecraft, not because I wanted to play Minecraft, though I did, but I got into Minecraft because I wanted to evaluate whether it was suitable for my very young daughters at the time. Now, of course, it was suitable, but you know, while I'm evaluating it, right? It's like, oh, this is pretty fun, and then get you out of here. I don't mind the zombie pigmen. It's just they're in the way. It's like, you know, when your cat comes up and just plops down in the middle of your keyboard. The difference is that your cat's not carrying a golden sword and will beat the snot out of you, right? Well, it might scratch the crap out of you, but anyway. So here we are, years and years later. I think I started playing Minecraft like a couple years after it came out, right? When it first came out, oops, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. You know, when it first came out, I was working at Microsoft on a contract at a time, and one of the guys I was working at, I did not want to do that. It's raining scaffolding. Oh, my bad. My bad. So, you know, I got plenty of scaffolding. It's not a big deal, but I think I'll give it a whole stack, and then we'll see how far that gets us later. Anyway, I was working at Microsoft on a contract, and one of the marketing guy on our team, he was he was a divorced dad, but he was a single dad, and one of his things was he was bonding with his son by playing Minecraft. And I mean, we were just talking because, you know, I had girls, he had boys, and we were just talking. And the kids, I think his son was like a year older than my kids, but anyway, we're just talking about dad stuff. And he's like, "Oh, you've got to play Minecraft with your kids. It's a fantastic bonding thing." And this, and I was like, I don't know. But he kept, you know, every 2 weeks he'd bug me about it, and then I finally, you know, caved into peer pressure. Now, I don't know what kind of peer pressure is required to get me to play a game. Normally, all it is like, hey, it's on sale. And that's more than enough encouragement for me to go out and do it. But this was still early in our marriage. Well, not early, earlier, right? I mean, we've been married 23 years, so we had been married for about 6 years at that point. And yeah, my wife really didn't like me playing games, so I'd stopped playing games, and this would be like crossing the Rubicon, right? Going back to something that was technically allowed but heavily frowned upon, which is why that was my excuse, is to see if the girls would like it. And you know, the rest is history. Now, I will say, it changed my game playing habits. I guess you could say having kids probably changed my game playing habits, because when I married my wife, I was a big gamer and I was playing lots of MMOs, particularly World of Warcraft. And when I wasn't online playing with my friends in a virtual world, my favorite games were strategy games, real-time strategy games, and 4X games, which are what are those? Those are explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate, right? Like Civilization is a classic example of a 4X game. So those were the games I tended to play. And of course, this genre didn't exist yet. That would come with Minecraft. But when that genre did exist and I started playing Minecraft, it's like, you know, I guess I still would enjoy those games, but I don't enjoy them nearly as much as I enjoy this. Not even remotely close. So here I am, and I love it. And this is a fantastic time to be a lover of open world sandbox survival games, right? This is because I think we're on the verge of a renaissance, a reawakening. Now, you know, Minecraft came out, and Minecraft has been almost in a state of suspended animation for 17 years. Well, at least since Caves and Cliffs, right? It's not really done anything of note since then. I will say the trial chambers were pretty cool, but that's, I don't know, that's like one really big fancy structure. It doesn't really change the game like the Nether update did, or Caves and Cliffs. But yeah, but it, you know, since then, since Minecraft came out, there are tons of games in this genre. Some very realistic, some blocky like this. But you know, nobody has really innovated much. They're kind of, they all variations on a theme. There's nothing really mind-bogglingly new or clever. And then now Hightail's come out, and I think it has brought some actual innovation. And as a result, I think the bar's gone up, and people are talking and thinking about this genre in a way they haven't in a long time. And you know, for those who want to get into the whole discussion or argument about, you know, which company's better, which game's better, whatever, I don't care. All I care about is that this is gonna raise the bar for the game publishers, because you and I, you know, the people with the money in our pockets burning a hole in that pocket, we now have very different expectations, and they're gonna have to, if they want that hard earned cash, they're going to have to meet those expectations. So they're going to have to up their game. I'm not going to mention names, but one of those game companies has a name that somewhat rhymes with orangutan. Or meringue. How about that? Yeah, we'll see what they do. I said it back like when Hightail got canceled. I said this is too bad, right? Because when Hightail was first announced, I'm pretty sure the guys at Mojang started to sweat bullets. They said, "Oh boy, that's going to be hard to compete with." But and that's when, after the announcement, that's when we started seeing big movements in Minecraft. That's when we got the Nether update. That's when we got things like the caves and cliffs, right? They were raising the bar. I think they felt pressure. Then when Hightail was bought by Riot Games and it started its own little version of development hell, I think the pressure was off, because it was it was becoming increasingly clear that this thing was mired down, and at that time, I think Mojang didn't feel the pressure, right? Because like, if it comes out, it's going to be years from now, and then they started to realize, yeah, it's probably never coming out. We're safe, right? We don't have to put as much effort in to innovation or overhauling the tech debt like we were trying to do before. And then Hightail got canceled, and everybody's, there we go. See, we're justified. And then old Simon there, he went and bought the game and said, "Okay, it's coming out in 3 weeks." And everyone's like, "Excuse me?" And then we're off to the races again. And like I said, it's changed a lot of things. It's changed. I mean, forget Mojang, forget the genre. It has raised expectations for gamers regardless of the genre, right? And so even Epic and EA and all these others, they now are looking at this going, "Ooh boy, these are big shoes to fill." And this comes at a time when the game companies, especially AAA game companies, are really having a hard time, because having a $1 billion game isn't a guarantee of making back multiple billions of dollars, right? Battlefield's back after years of being second fiddle, a very distant second fiddle to Call of Duty. And so, that was a wake-up call, right? It's just, what was it, Expedition 33? That's a very, very small team, and they came out with a game that is both innovative, beautiful to watch, a lot of fun to play, and it's making money hands over fist. And they didn't have a $1 billion budget. I don't know what their budget was, but I would be surprised if it was more than, say, 10, 20, or 30 million. Right? That's kind of crazy. It would be the equivalent of like your American Airlines, United Airlines are being upstaged by like Sandpiper Air from the show Wings, right? People would prefer to fly Sandpiper than a major airline, and you're like, wow, how is that possible? It's possible because, well, I think airlines are a good example. I mean, now they nickel and dime you to death, right? So I'm surprised they don't charge to let you use the bathroom. And maybe I shouldn't say that, because this might get back to some airline exec, and he's like, "Oh, that's a good idea," because it might even take it one step further. It's like they not only will you have to pay to use the bathroom, they'll have an automated toilet that weighs how much you put into it. And it's like, oh, well, not you're gonna pay $1.50 to use the bathroom, and you're 3 pounds lighter than you were before, so you're gonna have to pay a 3 pound waste disposable fee. Don't laugh. That's the type of stuff they think about. So, yeah, I mean, there's that classic example. I don't remember who it was, and I don't remember which airline it was, but some CEO realized that on their salads that they had on the flight, if instead of giving the customer 3 olives, they knocked it down to 2. Somebody went and figured out how much an olive weighs, then figured out how much an olive costs, and figured out, if you had that many fewer olives, you would save X amount of dollars, plus that you have Y amount of weight you wouldn't need, which would save X amount of fuel, which then would also save even more dollars. That's the type of computations that they do. And for if you're a publicly traded company, that's how it works, right? Because you are accountable to the shareholders, and that all the shareholders are worried about 2 things: making money. I mean, getting their money back is never a question, because if they can't get their money back, they're gonna, can the whole executive suite. So making money, hopefully more money the better, as fast as possible. That's what shareholders care about. I say that, but I've got shares of stock. I have mutual funds too, so I understand it. But you see, I have a different yardstick, right? I much prefer. I do like to make money, and I do like to make it fast, but I would prefer to have a fair and appropriately priced product or service for which we're being paid for, right? Because even though I have stocks and stuff, I'm a consumer first and foremost. And like the airline's a perfect example. I hate flying now. I used to fly all the time. Now I hate flying because of the horrible experience that the airlines give us now. And so, as a consumer, I mean, as somebody, with experience, I understand why the airlines make the decisions they make. But as a consumer, I think they're the wrong decisions, right? But then again, I'm not on their board, so it doesn't really matter what I think, does it? And if you want to go someplace like, say, Hawaii, well, it's either a boat or a plane, unless you're a really strong swimmer or you have some really fancy car I'm not aware of. Whoa, I didn't realize there's all that diamond right there. There was all that diamond right there. Sweet. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's so like I said, it's a great time to be in this genre, because I think the big game companies are taking a beating, because basically there's a thing called ROI, return on investment. It's a PM term, and basically it means, like, for whatever you put into it, you need to make sure that you get enough out of it to justify what you put into it, right? And I mean, the game companies certainly use that concept for figuring out how much they're going to charge you and stuff. Well, we should use the same concept, in their pricing. If they want us to buy an $80 or $90 game, okay, well, we want to make sure that we get our $80 or $90 worth out of it. And I think consumers are waking up. I mean, things got out of hand during the pandemic because everybody was stuck at home, and games have always will be a fantastic entertainment value, right? But when you're stuck at home, suddenly they became gold, and people were willing to pay a lot for them. And that's when venture capitalists started giving money to anybody who even joked that they were going to make a game. And there we go. And games got bigger and grander, and lots of easy money and lots of game companies. And that is pretty much what we call a bubble. The bubble burst. For the record, I will tell you that AI is here to stay. But AI is not the end-all, be-all of technical prowess or civilization, right? AI is a tool. AI does some stuff very, very well. It does a lot of other stuff not so well. And anybody who thinks that the whole economy is going to shift to AI only, they don't understand AI. But that being said, the spending on AI is through the roof right now. In fact, it's probably the only thing that's keeping us out of an actual recession. And I think AI is a bubble, right? At some point, they're going to realize that AI isn't going to, clean our house, cook our food, teach our kids, walk the dog. At some point, you're going to realize that we need people. We need people for stuff. And, of course, it might be 2, 3, or 4 years before that realization finally hits home. And two problems. When that happens, it's going to mess up the economy because right now our economy is heavily invested in AI. And two, I can't wait that long. I need a job now. So, when they turn around and say, okay, we need to start bringing back all these PMs, I'd be happy to come back. But for me to get from here to there, I'm going to, either be eating cat food or I need to find something else to do until then. So, something to do other than knocking around digital voxels. But anyway. I forgot about this. Still got oodles here. How close does that get us? Close. There we go. And I have basically rambled on for an entire hour, but I got a lot done. Things are looking good up here, though I'm missing some cockatrices. That would be awesome. Let's see. So let's just throw it all into the chest and then see what needs to be grouped, smelted. So stacks for smelting have to be divisible by 8. Stacks for grouping need to be divisible by 9. Oh, how convoluted this is. Let's get the stuff smelting. And the reason you keep seeing me switch stuff back and forth from my offhand, I've been playing a lot of Hightail, and in Hightail to use stuff like doors or open up machines, you hit the F key. But in vanilla Minecraft, the F key will swap out whatever's your currently selected item with the item in your offhand. And that's why I keep switching back and forth, because I'm going, I've built up some muscle memory already with Hightail. So going to use a machine, I hit F, and I swapped, and I swap back. Then I remember to use the machine by right-clicking on it. And then I'll finish this episode, and then I'll go work on the next Hightail episode, and it's all screwed up again. And I'm not 21 anymore, so it's the whole saying about old dogs, new tricks. You can teach old dogs new tricks. I'm obviously proof of that, but old dogs learn slowly, or at least not as fast as they used to. So Let's see. I have a diamond backpack. Okay. A diamond backpack upgrade. So, to upgrade it further, I just need 8 blocks of netherite. So, that's not going to happen anytime soon. Where would be a good place to look over my handiwork here? No. How about here on... It's like I'm king of the world. Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, Titanic. Okay. And there it is. So we did almost a full level of the central core, and that's good. Though we're still down in the workshop or kelp level. And we filled out our fields up here, so this is more productive. And that's basically it, though. That's some heavy lifting right there. So I'm somewhat satisfied with the progress. And I got to ramble on and get some stuff off my chest. And I hope, if you're still watching this, I hope you enjoyed that or got something out of it, or maybe it totally upset you. Either way, let me know what you thought in the comments. And I hope you will come back for the next episode, see where this goes, and each episode after that. But in the meanwhile, I hope this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps just a touch of good fortune. Cheers.